My wife used my broken legs as an excuse to cheat with her ex, saying, "Nothing in you works right now, you're completely useless." So I made sure those words cost her everything. All right, Reddit. So, yeah, I'm that guy who got turned into a temporary paperweight and learned exactly what his marriage was worth. My wife brought her ex into our house while I was stuck in a wheelchair recovering from a car accident. She told me, "Nothing in you works right now, you're useless, and I need a real man." So I started planning my exit strategy, while she thought I was helpless. Grab some popcorn because this gets wild. Let me back up. 7 months ago, I, 29 male, was a normal dude with a normal life. I worked as an accountant for a logistics company, had a decent house in the suburbs, a wife of 6 years named Regina, and zero reason to think my life was about to become a dumpster fire. Then some idiot ran a red light at 60 miles per hour and T-boned my sedan on the driver's side. The impact shattered both my legs. Not just broke them, shattered. Like someone took a hammer to a ceramic plate and then stomped on the pieces. The ER doc said words like compound fractures, nerve damage, and extensive trauma. But the real gut punch came 3 days later, when my orthopedic surgeon sat down with that look doctors get when they're about to ruin your week. "The damage to your legs is severe," he said, doing that thing where they try to sound hopeful while destroying your life. "We've stabilized the fractures, but there's significant nerve involvement. You're looking at months of recovery, maybe longer." "How much longer?" I asked. He paused. "That's never good. It's hard to say. Some patients regain full mobility, others don't. We won't know until we see how you respond to treatment. So I might walk normal again, might not walk at all, might end up somewhere in between. Fun times." They sent me home after 2 weeks, both legs in casts from hip to ankle, confined to a wheelchair, completely dependent on other people for basically everything. You don't realize how much you take walking for granted until you can't do it anymore. Can't get your own food, can't use the bathroom without help, can't even scratch your own leg when it itches under the cast. It's humbling in the worst possible way. Regina played the role of devoted wife perfectly when my parents and her parents were around. She'd fluff my pillows, bring me water, ask if I needed anything with this concerned look on her face. Her mom kept saying how lucky I was to have such a caring partner. My dad looked relieved every time Regina did something helpful, like he'd been worried she might bail. The mask came off the second we were alone. Like immediately. Her parents' car hadn't even left the driveway before her whole demeanor changed. The concern disappeared. The helpfulness evaporated. She looked at me in that wheelchair like I was a broken appliance she couldn't return. "I need to go to the store," she said that first night. Not asking, just informing me. "I'll be back whenever." "Could you maybe help me get to the bedroom first?" I asked. "It's been a long day." She sighed like I'd asked her to donate a kidney. Fine. That set the tone for everything that followed. She'd do the absolute bare minimum to keep me alive. But every task came with this heavy sigh and eye roll combo that made it clear she resented my existence. Helping me shower? Major production? Making meals? She'd dump a sandwich on a plate and leave it barely within reach. Adjusting my position in bed so I didn't get sores? I had to ask 3 times before she'd do it with this exhausted huff. "You know this isn't exactly fun for me either," I said one night after she'd complained about having to help me for the 3rd time that day. "Oh, I'm sorry," she shot back. "Is my frustration about becoming a full-time nurse inconvenient for you?" I let it go. The doctors said stress could slow healing, and I figured she was just adjusting to the situation. Plus, what was I gonna do? Roll away aggressively? 2 weeks passed. She started going out more. Girls' nights, shopping trips, brunches with friends. She'd leave me parked in front of the TV with snacks and water bottles lined up like I was a toddler, then disappear for 6 hours. My buddy Dave started coming by to check on me because I'd text him when I needed something, and Regina wasn't answering her phone. The changes kept coming. She started wearing more makeup. New clothes showed up in her closet. She'd come home smelling like cologne that definitely wasn't mine. And her phone? That thing was locked down tighter than a bank vault. She'd take it to the bathroom with her, sleep with it under her pillow. Nearly had a heart attack if I so much as glanced at it. "Can you order us some food?" I asked one evening when my stomach was growling, and she'd been absorbed in her phone for an hour. "I'm starving. Order it yourself," she said, without looking up. "My phone's in the bedroom. Could you grab it?" Another one of those sighs. "Seriously?" "Yes, seriously. I'm hungry, and I can't exactly walk to get it." She slammed her phone down and stomped off to get mine, brought it back, threw it on my lap hard enough that it hurt. "There. Happy?" "Thrilled," I said. She went back to her phone. I ordered food. We ate in silence. This was my marriage now. Roommates who resented each other, except one roommate was completely dependent on the other, and that other clearly wished he'd just disappear. The real fun started about 6 weeks after I got home. I was in the living room, trying to do some work emails on my laptop, because disability payments don't cover everything, and I needed to stay somewhat productive. Regina had been gone all day. Again. It was almost 9 when she finally walked in. With Brock. I'm not even kidding. She just walked right in with this dude like it was the most natural thing in the world. He had his hand on the small of her back. They were laughing about something. She stopped when she saw me, but it wasn't guilty surprise. It was more like mild annoyance that I was in the living room instead of tucked away somewhere out of sight. "Oh," she said. "You're still up. Still up. In my own house. What a concept." "Yeah," I said slowly. "I'm still up. Who's this?" Brock stepped forward with this cocky grin. "Hey man, Brock. We met at—" "I remember," I cut him off. "What are you doing in my house?" "Our house," Regina corrected. And he's here because I invited him. I stared at her, then at him, then back at her. You invited your ex-boyfriend to our house, while your husband is sitting here in a wheelchair, and you thought this was appropriate because... She crossed her arms. Because I need some company that isn't just sitting around feeling sorry for itself. Wow. Okay. That's where we were going with this. Brock looked uncomfortable for about half a second, then seemed to decide this was his moment to be a tough guy. Look, dude, no disrespect, but Regina has been stressed. She needs support. Right, I said. Support. That's what we're calling it. Regina's face went red. Not embarrassed red. Angry red. You know what? Yes. Support. Something you can't provide right now because all you do is sit there and need things. I'm exhausted. I'm allowed to have friends. Friends don't touch the small of your back like that, I pointed out. Brock actually rolled his eyes. This guy. In my house. Rolling his eyes at me. Maybe if you weren't so paranoid and helpless, she wouldn't need other people, he said. That was it. That was the line. I may have been stuck in a wheelchair, but I wasn't about to sit there and get disrespected by some bargain bin loser in my own living room. Get out, I said. Calm. Direct. Excuse me? Regina's voice went shrill. Get out of my house. Brock laughed. Actually laughed. Or what? You gonna roll over here and fight me? No, I said. I'm going to call the police and have you removed for trespassing. He's not trespassing, Regina jumped in. I invited him. I live here. And I own the house, I said. Deeds in my name. Bought it a year before we got married. So unless he wants to explain to the cops why he's refusing to leave a property owner's residence, he should probably start walking. Brock looked at Regina. She looked at me with pure venom. But he started backing toward the door because even idiots understand property law when it's spelled out that clearly. This is ridiculous, Regina hissed. You can't just... I can, I said. And I did. He leaves or I call 911. Your choice. Brock left. Regina followed him out to the driveway. They stood there talking for 20 minutes while I sat in the living room, shaking with rage and adrenaline. When she finally came back in, she slammed the door hard enough to rattle the windows. You're unbelievable, she said. You humiliated me. I humiliated you? You brought another man into our house? Because I'm lonely. Because you're useless right now and I need... A real man? I finished. Is that where this is going? She stopped, looked at me. And in that moment, I saw exactly what she thought of me. There was no love there. No partnership. Just contempt. Yes, she said quietly. I need someone who can actually function, who can take me places and do things and be a partner instead of a patient. You're broken right now. Nothing in you works right. I can't live like this. There it was. The truth. Clean and simple and absolutely brutal. Okay, I said. Okay, what? Okay, I hear you. Thanks for the honesty. She looked confused, probably expected me to beg or cry or argue. But here's the thing about hitting rock bottom. There's a certain clarity that comes with it. I wasn't going to grovel for someone who saw me as defective. I wasn't going to negotiate with someone who brought their ex home like it was casual Tuesday. I was done. We'll talk tomorrow, I said. I'm tired. She stared at me for a long moment, then shrugged and went upstairs. I heard her on the phone immediately, probably calling Brock to complain about what a nightmare I was. I pulled out my phone and texted Dave, need your help with something. Can you come by tomorrow? He responded in 30 seconds. What's up? Tell you tomorrow. It's important. I'll be there at 10. Then I made 2 more calls. One to a divorce attorney. I left a voicemail asking for a consultation. The second call went to my bank, asking about the process for freezing joint accounts. They said I'd need to come in person. I explained my situation. They said they'd send someone to the house. By the time I finished, it was past midnight. I sat there in the dark living room, in that wheelchair, in the house I'd bought with my own money, and felt weirdly calm. Like I'd been waiting for the other shoe to drop for weeks, and it finally had. No more guessing. No more hoping she was just stressed. Just cold, hard reality and a to-do list. Dave showed up at 10 sharp the next morning. Regina had already left. No note or anything. He took one look at my face and said, "We killing someone?" Maybe metaphorically, I said. I need you to help me document some things. I told him everything. The Brock situation. The conversation. Regina's words about me being broken and useless. He listened without interrupting, his face getting progressively harder. Okay, he said when I finished. What do you need? Security cameras, I said. I want them in the living room and pointing at the entrances. Nothing in bedrooms or bathrooms, just common areas. You think she's going to bring him back? I know she is. And when she does, I want proof. Dave nodded. I know a guy. We can have them installed this afternoon. Good. Also, can you help me move my important documents? Birth certificate, marriage license, financial records? I want them somewhere she can't access them. Your parents' place? Works for me. We spent the next few hours getting everything organized. Dave's friends showed up around 2 with the cameras. Small, discreet, high quality. One in the living room corner, one covering the front door, one in the kitchen. All connected to an app on my phone. Record continuously, saved to cloud storage. This feels very spy movie, Dave said as we tested them. That's because my life has become a soap opera, I said. The bank representative came by at 4. I explained I needed to protect my assets during a likely divorce. She helped me set up a new individual account and transferred half the joint savings to it. The other half stayed in joint access, which was apparently the legal way to do it. Can't clean out shared accounts without potentially getting destroyed in court, but I could protect my portion. Regina came home at 7. Dave had left an hour earlier. She walked in carrying takeout bags and wearing a new dress I'd never seen before. "You eat yet?" she asked. "Yeah." "Cool." That was the whole conversation. She ate in the kitchen while scrolling through her phone. I stayed in the living room. The cameras recorded everything. At 9, she announced she was going to bed. I heard her talking on the phone for over an hour. Couldn't make out the words, but I didn't need to. This went on for 3 days. Her leaving for hours. Coming back late. Zero communication beyond bare necessities. I spent the time researching divorce laws, talking to the attorney on the phone, and working on regaining some upper body strength. If I was going to fight this, I needed to be as functional as possible. Then came Wednesday night. I was doing exercises in the living room. Physical therapist had given me routines to keep my arms and core strong since my legs were useless. It was painful and frustrating, but I pushed through it because sitting around feeling sorry for myself wasn't going to change anything. 8:30, the front door opened. Regina walked in, Brock right behind her. She saw me and actually rolled her eyes. "Really?" she said. "You can't do that somewhere else?" "This is my house," I said evenly. "I'll exercise wherever I want." Brock closed the door. They both just stood there, looking at me like I was the problem. Like I was the intruder in my own living room. "We're going to hang out," Regina announced. "You should probably go to the bedroom." "No." "Excuse me?" I said no. "I'm not going anywhere. This is my house. He needs to leave." Brock stepped forward. "Look, man, we've been patient with your whole situation, but we're together now. You need to accept that." Together. She was calling it together, while still married to me, while I was sitting there disabled in the house I owned. "Get out," I said to Brock. "Make me," he shot back. And that's when Regina said it, the line that ended everything completely. "He can't make you do anything," she told Brock with this cruel smile. "Nothing in him works right now. He's useless. He can't walk, can't work properly, can't be a real husband. That's why I need an actual man." Brock laughed, put his arm around her. "Guess that's me." I pulled out my phone, started dialing 911. Regina's eyes went wide. "What are you doing?" "Calling the police. He's trespassing, refusing to leave my property." "You can't be serious," Brock said, but he looked nervous now. "This is insane," Regina shrieked. The operator picked up. 911, what's your emergency?" "Yes, I have an unwanted person in my home refusing to leave. I'm disabled and unable to physically remove him myself. I need assistance." Regina completely lost it. Started screaming about how I was ruining everything, how I was vindictive, how I was doing this out of spite. She grabbed a vase off the side table and threw it at the wall. It shattered. Brock tried to calm her down. The operator stayed on the line. I could hear her talking to dispatch. "Officers are en route. Sir, are you in immediate danger?" "Possibly," I said, watching Regina have her meltdown. "My wife is destroying property and becoming increasingly erratic." That seemed to penetrate. Regina stopped mid-throw, a candle holder in her hand. "Your wife? I'm your wife and you're calling the cops on me?" "I'm calling them on him. You're just giving them extra reasons to take this seriously." Brock was already heading for the door. "Forget this. I'm out." "Don't you dare leave me here," Regina yelled at him. But he did. Walked right out. So much for being a real man. The second things got legally complicated. He bailed. Regina stood there breathing hard, surrounded by broken objects, and I could see her brain trying to process what just happened. "You just ruined everything," she said. "No, I documented everything. There's a difference." Cops showed up 4 minutes later. 2 officers. They saw the mess, saw me in the wheelchair, saw Regina still holding the candle holder, asked for everyone's side of the story. I explained calmly. Regina tried to spin it as me being controlling, said I was trying to isolate her, that I was weaponizing my disability, but there was broken glass everywhere, and she kept interrupting the officers when they tried to talk. Not a good look. "Ma'am, we're going to need you to calm down," one officer said. "I am calm," she yelled, not helping her case. They asked me if I wanted to press charges. I said yes for the trespassing. They asked if I felt safe with Regina in the house. I paused just long enough to make them concerned. Tonight was unusual, but given my current physical state, I can't defend myself if things escalate. They asked her to step outside. She refused. They asked again. She started arguing. And here's the thing about cops. They really don't like it when you argue with direct requests. One of them told her she could step outside voluntarily, or they could make it involuntary. She finally went, but slammed her way out and started pacing on the front lawn. The other officer stayed with me. Asked if there was somewhere else she could stay for the night while things cooled down. I mentioned her parents lived 20 minutes away. He nodded, went outside, talked to Regina. She came back in to grab some clothes, shooting daggers at me the whole time. "This isn't over," she hissed while shoving things in a bag. "Yeah," I said. "It really is." She left with the cops following her to make sure she actually went somewhere else. I sat in the destroyed living room, surrounded by broken objects and shattered marriage, and felt absolutely nothing. Just this empty relief that the pretending was finally over. I called Dave. "It happened. Brock showed up?" "Yep. Cops removed him and her. Got it all on camera." "Dang, man, you okay?" "I'm fine. Can you come by tomorrow? I need to start moving forward on the divorce. I'll be there at 8. That night, I barely slept. Kept replaying Regina's words. "Nothing in you works right now. You're useless." Like I was a broken appliance. Like 6 years of marriage meant nothing because I'd been temporarily disabled by a car accident that wasn't even my fault. But you know what? She was wrong. Everything worked. My brain worked. My hands worked. My sense of self-preservation worked just fine. Just because my legs were out of commission didn't mean I was helpless. The attorney called the next morning. I gave him the full story, mentioned the recordings, the police report, everything. He sounded almost gleeful. "This is pretty straightforward," he said. "She's established a pattern of abandonment and infidelity while you're disabled. The house is premarital property in your name. You've been the primary earner. She's got nothing. We filed papers that afternoon. Dave drove me to the office to sign everything. Regina got served 2 days later. She called me 17 times in 1 hour. I didn't answer. Let it all go to voicemail. She left messages ranging from angry to crying to threatening. Her parents called next. Apparently, Regina had told them I'd turned on her when she was just trying to help me through recovery. I let them talk, then calmly explained what had actually happened. They got very quiet. We didn't know," her dad finally said. "Now you do." They stopped calling. The divorce moved fast. She tried to claim she deserved half the house because she'd invested emotional labor in the marriage. My attorney shredded that argument, reminded the court the house was purchased before marriage with my money, making it separate property. She tried to claim she needed spousal support because she'd been my caregiver. The recordings of her literally saying I was useless and bringing another man home kind of destroyed that narrative. She ended up with her car, her personal items, and exactly zero claim to anything else. No house, no alimony, no shared assets beyond what was in the joint account that I'd already split legally. The whole thing was finalized in 8 weeks because she had no case and everyone involved could see it. But here's where it gets interesting. About 4 weeks into the divorce process, I started intensive physical therapy. Real physical therapy. I'd been doing the basic stuff at home, but now I had access to the actual equipment and expertise. My legs had healed enough to start trying to bear weight. It was agony, like standing on knives made of fire, but I pushed through it. The first time I stood, and I'm using stood loosely here because it was more like balanced while shaking uncontrollably with my hands death-gripping parallel bars, I almost passed out from the pain. My therapist looked concerned, asked if we should stop. "No," I said through gritted teeth. "Keep going." We worked 4 days a week. Progress was microscopic. 1 week I could stand for 30 seconds. Next week, 45, then a minute. My legs felt like they belonged to someone else. Weak, wobbly, unreliable. But they worked. Sort of. Regina didn't know any of this. We had zero contact. Everything went through attorneys. She'd moved in with Brock, according to Dave, who kept tabs on the situation without me having to ask. Apparently, they were renting someplace downtown, making it work, being a real couple. 4 months after the accident, I could walk. Not well. I needed a cane. Each step was deliberate. My legs protested constantly, but I could move under my own power. The physical therapist called it remarkable progress. I called it spite-driven determination. Probably both. Dave threw a small celebration at his place. Just him, me, and a couple other friends. They'd all been supportive throughout the whole mess, never made me feel like a charity case. We ordered food, played games, normal stuff. It felt good to be mostly normal again. "You're still going to PT?" Dave asked. 3 times a week, probably for months, but yeah. Think you'll get back to 100%? Maybe, maybe not. But I can live independently. That's what matters. Living independently turned out to be pretty great. I had my house to myself, kept it clean, did my own cooking, went back to work part-time from home, gradually ramping up as I got stronger. The company was cool about the flexible schedule. My productivity actually went up because I wasn't dealing with constant drama and resentment. Then, about 3 months after the divorce was finalized, I was in the living room with Dave when the doorbell rang. Security camera showed Regina standing there, looking like she'd been through a blender. Hair everywhere, no makeup, sweatpants with stains. She was holding a container of something. "That her?" Dave asked. "Yep. Want me to get it?" "Nah, I got this." I walked to the door and opened it. Left it wide open. No chain needed with Dave there as backup. "What do you want?" Regina tried to smile. Failed miserably. "Hi, can we talk?" "We don't have anything to talk about. Please. Just 5 minutes. I made you soup. Your favorite. Tomato basil. I saw you at the grocery store last month. You were walking. I've been thinking about it ever since." There it was. I stared at her. This woman cheated on me with her ex while I was recovering from an accident. Told me I was broken and useless. Moved him into our place while I was still living there. Disappeared when I needed her most. And now that she'd seen me walking again, she showed up with soup. Like that would somehow fix 6 years of relationship and 3 months of treating me like garbage. "Let me get this straight," I said. "You saw I could walk. And that's when you decided to come back." "It's not like that. I wanted to apologize. I made a mistake with Brock. Everything was a mistake. I was scared and overwhelmed and I handled it wrong. You cheated on me while I was disabled and told me nothing about me worked anymore. That's not a mistake. That's who you are." I know, and I'm sorry. I'm so sorry. Brock was terrible. He was lazy and selfish and nothing like I thought. You were right about him all along. Cool story." Her eyes started watering. "We could try again. I'll go to counseling. I'll do whatever you need. We had 6 good years before this. That has to count for something." I leaned against the doorframe. Dave was standing behind me in the hallway. Silent support. "You want to know what those 6 years were worth? About the same as that soup. Which is nothing. Don't say that. We loved each other. We built a life together. You built a life. I was just the foundation you stood on until you found something better. Then you tried to demolish me on your way out. That's not fair. You're not perfect either. You were depressed. You wouldn't talk to me. You pushed me away. I had shattered legs. I was learning to walk again. Sorry I wasn't chipper enough for you while my body was broken. See? This is what I'm talking about. You always what? Always expected my wife not to bring her ex home? Yeah. Real unreasonable of me. She stepped forward. Please. I don't have anywhere else to go. Brock kicked me out. My parents are disappointed in me. I lost my job because I was too distracted. Everything fell apart. I need help. Then ask Brock. Oh wait, he bailed when things got hard. Funny how that works. You're being cruel. No, I'm being honest. You showed me who you are. I'm just refusing to forget. Her face changed. The sad act dropped. Something harder came through. So that's it? After everything I did for you? All the years I supported you? One mistake and you throw it all away? One mistake. Wow, you are such a delusional woman. She held out the container. Okay, just take it. Please, I came all this way. No, take the soup. No, take it. She threw it at me, not handed it. Threw it, hard, like she was pitching a fastball. The container sailed through the air, lid popping off mid-flight. I tried to catch it. Instinct. My hands made contact, but my grip wasn't fast enough. The container slipped through my fingers, and the whole thing went airborne again, flipping end over end. Hot soup splashed everywhere. Most of it caught her square in the face and chest. Some splattered on the doorframe. A bit hit my shirt. She screamed, started clawing at her clothes. It's hot! It's burning! Dave stepped up beside me. Looks warm, not burning. You drove here with it, right? So it's been cooling for at least 20 minutes. She looked at him, then at me. Soup dripping off her chin. You made me spill it. You threw it at me, I said. I tried to catch it. You brought soup as a weapon. I didn't. It wasn't. Get out. She stood there, soup dripping off her chin. No, not until you listened to me. I already listened. You cheated. You called me worthless. You told me I'd never walk again. I heard all of it. Now leave. I'm not going anywhere until we talk about this. Dave shifted his weight. Dude, yeah. I looked at Regina. Last chance. Walk out now or I'm calling the cops. For what? Standing here? That's not illegal. Trespassing is. This is my house. You're not invited. You're not welcome. And you just threw food at me. So yeah, cops. She crossed her arms. Soup covered and defiant. Call them. I'll tell them you assaulted me. With what? Your own soup? Dave laughed. Lady, you're covered in evidence of your bad life choices. I'm not leaving, she said, voice getting louder. Not until he understands what he threw away. Not until he sees that we could still... Dave, call the cops. On it. He pulled out his phone. Regina's eyes went wide. What? No, wait. This is ridiculous. I'm leaving. Too late. You assaulted me. Threw an object at me. You're covered in the evidence. The cops showed up 12 minutes later. 2 officers. Both looked like they were trying not to laugh the second they saw Regina standing there covered in orange soup with basil chunks in her hair. Evening, the older one said. We got a call about an assault? She threw soup at me when I refused to take her back, I said. I tried to catch it. It exploded on her. The younger cop looked at Regina. Ma'am, is that true? He's lying. He made me spill it. By trying to catch it? Dave said. That's a new one. The older cop was writing in his notebook. So you brought soup to his house. To apologize, Regina said. And when he didn't accept your apology, you threw it at him? I didn't throw it. I was upset. Upset enough to launch soup at someone's face, the younger cop said. That's assault, ma'am. It's soup. Assault with soup is still assault, the older cop said. Regina looked between them. You're seriously going to arrest me over soup? We're seriously going to document this incident, the older cop said. Sir, do you want to press charges? I want a restraining order, I said. She cheated on me. We're divorced. She showed up unannounced. I said no to reconciliation, and she attacked me. The younger cop looked at Regina. Is this your ex? Yes, but... And you came to his house after the relationship ended? To apologize? With soup, Dave added helpfully. The older cop turned to me. You want her charged or just the restraining order? Just the order. I want her gone and kept gone. We can do that. He handed me a card. File tomorrow at the courthouse. Use case number 7742. We'll put it in the report that she showed up uninvited, you declined contact, and she responded with physical aggression. This is ridiculous, Regina said, voice getting shrill. He's fine. Nothing happened. It's just soup. Ma'am, the younger cop said, and he was definitely smiling now. You assaulted someone with tomato basil. That's going in the report. You're lucky he's not pressing charges because weaponized soup is still assault. It wasn't weaponized. You threw it at someone who rejected you. That's pretty much the definition. The older cop handed me another card. Victim services. If she contacts you before the restraining order is in place, call us immediately. If she shows up here again, call us immediately. Will do. They turned to Regina. Ma'am, you need to leave this property now. If you return before the restraining order hearing, you'll be arrested for trespassing. Clear? She looked at me. You're really doing this? Over soup? Yes. You used to love me. Not anymore. She started crying. Real tears. The kind that used to make me feel guilty. Now they just made me feel tired. Come on, the younger cop said, guiding her toward her car. Let's go. She shuffled over to her beat-up sedan, still covered in soup, looking like she'd lost a fight with a lunch menu. When she drove off, it was like the smell of tomato, basil, and life failure got sucked down the street with her. The older cop looked at me. She gonna be a problem? Not after tomorrow when I file. Good. Get that restraining order. He watched her taillights disappear. Ma'am really thought showing up uninvited with soup was gonna work out for her. The younger cop laughed. Nothing says, take me back like assault by appetizer. She didn't even bring breadsticks, zero effort. Or leaving him alone, the older cop said. That would have been free. Dave was grinning. You guys see this kind of thing a lot? Desperate exes? Sure. But usually they cry, not throw food. The younger cop shook his head. She drove away looking like she lost a fight with a restaurant menu. The older cop handed me his card. Call if she comes back. Though after tonight's performance, I'm guessing she's done. They left. Dave and I stood in the doorway looking at the orange splatter pattern on my porch. Want pizza? Dave asked. God, yes. We ordered pizza. I filed the restraining order the next morning. Got it approved within a week. Regina tried texting twice before it went through. I forwarded both messages to the cops. She stopped after that. Heard through the grapevine she moved back in with her parents. Brock had drained their joint accounts for some investment scam and disappeared. She couldn't afford rent, lost her apartment. Her car died. Parents took her in on condition she got a job in therapy. Last I heard, she was working retail and living in their basement. Oh, and Brock? Yeah, karma caught up with him too. Regina actually grew a spine for once in her life and reported him to the cops for the scam. Took about 6 months, but he got picked up on a warrant during a routine traffic stop. Turns out when you steal someone's money and ghost them, the law gets involved. Who knew? He got hit with felony theft charges. Tried to plea it down, but the prosecutor wasn't having it since Regina had all the bank records showing he'd cleaned out their joint account with promises of some fake investment opportunity. Last I heard, he did 8 months in county, came out with a record, and couldn't find anything better than working night shifts at a warehouse. His whole real man act dried up real quick when he had a mugshot and a criminal background check following him around. Turns out running cons on desperate women doesn't build a great resume. Me? I kept walking, kept working, kept building my life back without her. Got promoted at work about 6 months after the divorce was finalized because my productivity was through the roof. Started dating again after about a year of being single. Met someone who didn't view my medical history as a character flaw. And I never ate tomato basil soup again. Some stains don't wash out.